prepare my chicken spinach mushroom. I have a little bit of fresh spinach in here. I poured a little bit of cavender. Now I'm just going to blanch it with a little bit of water. Let it kind of simmer up a little. Then you want to gently toss it. Just a little bit, not much. Just kind of toss it. You don't want to cook it all the way. Just want to get it to that bright green. There. See how it's nice and green? Get that one little leaf right there. You're basically quick boiling it. Now. Yeah, it's getting a good sizzle. Now I put water in there to kind of add a little bit of moisture back into the vegetable. And I'm not using olive oil. Then I'm going to add a little more dash of the cavender seasoning. If you don't know what the cavender seasoning is, this is what it looks like. It's the all-purpose Greek seasoning. It is salt-free. Very delicious on your food. Now I'm going to add some chicken that I had sauteed up a little bit. It's about 3.5 ounces of chicken. A little more because I wanted to use it up. But just kind of saute it up. Now what I want to do is I want to add some of the balsamic vinegar, which is great. Just add a splash in there, about 1/4 cup. And then we're going to add that in there and give it a good stir. Now also, I use the Natural Goodness chicken broth, 100% fat-free, Swanson. You want to add in some of that just to give it a little bit of good juice in there. I use about 1/4 cup, and as you can tell, I don't measure it because I've cooked so long. I just kind of know the measurements on it. And you let that boil up really good, nice and healthy. As you can see, we have this good and boiling now. And then I've taken a little bit of the broth and put in to a measuring cup. And then what I'm going to do is put in just a dash, just a little bit of cornstarch to kind of make a beef flavoring. Kind of make it a thick mixture. And you kind of want to mix that up with the fork. I'm going to put the camera down while I do this, but you get the point. Yeah, I've got my cornstarch and a little bit of broth. I'm just going to pour that in there and kind of let it, and you see a little bit, kind of get all that cornstarch in there. This is going to thicken your gravy up really good. Again, I'm not going off any recipes. This is just something I do, and it's very nutritious. Right now it looks like it's basically a soup, but that cornstarch is going to make it kind of thicken up into a nice brown sauce. Again, you don't have a lot of fat because it's all natural. It's with the chicken broth, and you got the balsamic vinegar in there that gives it a little bit of zest. Now, today I think I'm going to add a little bit of cayenne pepper. I like to use the Zatarain's cayenne pepper. Don't put a lot in there, just put a little dash. And here we go. I'm just going to put a little bit of that cayenne pepper in there. Again, just put a couple more pinches in there. Kind of add a little zest to it. You want to stir that in there. See how that sauce is getting nice and thick? It's really, really good and thick. Okay. Again, just let it kind of thicken up. You see, it gets thicker as you stir it. Okay, now I want to add a little bit of the spinach that we cooked earlier. Kind of add that in there. throw it in there. You see it's all nice and wrinkled up, but yet it's not so. Just kind of get that good flavor in there, that fresh spinach. Okay, and we're almost done. And you can either boil up some whole wheat pasta or throw it over some rice. And this is just one of the creations that I've made. It's real easy. Again, you use fresh mushrooms, a little bit of red pepper, some spinach, fresh spinach, and a little bit of yellow pepper with onions, and 3 to 4 ounces of chicken, about a little less quarter cup of balsamic vinegar, about a quarter cup to a half cup of the Swanson chicken broth, a lot of Cavenders, some garlic. For the pasta today, I'm going to use the Ronzini Healthy Harvest whole grain. One serving is about 2 ounces. And what I do is, I already have my bags measured up, as you can tell, until I just pour that into the pot. Then what I do is I add a little bit of Cavender seasoning to it, just to add a little flavor to it. Get that to a roiling boil. That'll take a few minutes. Now, a lot of people don't add stuff, but I add just a dash of olive oil. Just a little dash. That way it gives it kind of so it doesn't all stick together. And with adding the Cavender seasoning, it gives your pasta a good flavor, not just plain. And that way you're not using salt to season it. Because again, I use the Cavender salt-free, all Greek. See how on your pasta boiling, see those nice flavors floating around in there, that Cavender seasoning? That makes your pasta nice and tasty. So many people think that they have to add salt to their pasta. Well, I go sodium free on most of my meals, and they always taste delicious. So next time you want to try a little zest, again, just use a little bit of olive oil, just a tad bit, and some Cavender seasoning, about a teaspoon of it, and you'll see the great flavors floating around as it boils. And you want to make sure that your noodles are nice and tasty, and they want to get nice and limber in there. Okay, you see here our pasta's done. Just kind of toss that in a bowl. You want to let it set for just a minute to let all those pasta kind of settle. And if you look closely, I know my lighting's bad here, but again, I'm using the oven stove. Now back to our main topping here. You see how it's kind of thickened up? I'm going to add a little bit more of the Swanson. Turn it back on, just to kind of heat that up just a little bit. And again, with the cornstarch, it's going to thicken back up really nicely. But just kind of warm it up. You want to add a little bit more chicken broth, just to give it a little bit of texture, and see how beautiful that is. You got your greens, your yellows. Oh, delicious. And let's just get that warmed up just a few more minutes. Great. You want a consistency of your sauce to be a little bit pourable, but a little bit thick. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it over here, pour it over the top of our pasta. Great. Looks yummy. And there we go. Now normally when I take my pictures, I kind of move it around a little bit, kind of give it a zest, but just, and look how wonderful that is, how the colors just are beautiful. And kind of mix it up, and you can just see the flavor soak into those noodles. It just makes for a wonderful dish. Again, that is healthy. Healthy, healthy, healthy. Enjoy.